Have you ever felt like you're surrounded by actors? People wear masks every single day, pretending to be something they're not, whether it's at work, social gatherings, or even with close friends and family. But here's the thing. Once you learn how to read between the lines, those masks become transparent. People start revealing who they really are, even when they don't mean to. What if you could uncover what people are thinking or hiding, not just by their words, but by subtle signals, body language, tone, behavior? You don't need some magical ability or a degree in psychology to do this. You just need to pay attention. But while we're on this journey of understanding others, let me ask you something. Do you sometimes catch yourself doing the same thing? Putting on a mask, hiding behind politeness, or acting out of insecurity? We all do it, whether consciously or not. This exploration of how to read people isn't just about understanding others. It's about holding up a mirror to yourself and recognizing your own patterns. In this video, we're going to dive deep into 6 techniques to read people without them knowing, guided by the principles of Stoic philosophy. By the end, you'll not only be able to see through the facade others put up, but you might also discover hidden truths about yourself. So, let's dive in. Technique 1. The tell me more. Imagine having a superpower that could get anyone to reveal their true thoughts and feelings without them even realizing it. No, it's not mind reading or some fancy trick. It's simply asking the right question at the right moment. I call it the tell me more technique, and it's a game changer. Picture this. You're in a heated argument, and the natural instinct is to defend your point of view, right? But instead of jumping in with your rebuttal, what if you sat back, smiled, and simply said, "Tell me more"? Those 3 little words can disarm people in ways you wouldn't believe. They lower their guard because they feel heard. They feel like someone is genuinely interested in their point of view, not just waiting for a chance to argue back. I first stumbled upon this technique during a rather trivial argument, whether pineapple belongs on pizza, a classic I know. I was ready to counter every point my friend made, but instead, I said, "Tell me more." To my surprise, the conversation shifted from pizza to deeper memories, family dinners, favorite foods, and childhood stories. Suddenly, it wasn't about pizza anymore. It was about them, their history, their preferences, and even their insecurities about taste and judgment. What happened here? When you give someone space to speak without interruption, they start to open up in ways they hadn't anticipated. The conversation goes deeper because they no longer feel the need to defend themselves. They might start with surface-level talk, but soon they'll dive into their motivations, fears, and even past experiences that shaped who they are. Now think about it. Do you sometimes find yourself oversharing when you feel heard? We all do. When we feel like someone genuinely cares, the walls come down. And that's the magic of the tell me more technique. From a Stoic perspective, this isn't just a clever way to gather information. It's an exercise in empathy, one that forces you to step outside of your own ego. Stoicism teaches us to listen without judgment, to observe without getting attached to the outcome. By using this technique, you're not manipulating someone into revealing their secrets. Instead, you're giving them the rare gift of being truly heard. And in that process, you're building trust, deepening your understanding, and fostering real human connections. So the next time you're in a conversation, whether it's casual, professional, or even a heated debate, try it out. Say, "Tell me more." You might be amazed at how much deeper the conversation goes and how much you learn, not just about the other person, but about yourself as well. Technique 2. Watch how they treat people in lesser positions. If you really want to know someone's true character, don't just look at how they treat you. Pay close attention to how they treat people who are, in their eyes, beneath them. This might be one of the most revealing insights into someone's integrity, but it's also one that can be hard to accept. Think about this for a moment. We all know someone who can turn on the charm when it suits them, whether it's in front of a boss, a potential client, or someone they're trying to impress. But what happens when the spotlight is off? What happens when they interact with someone they don't think is important? That's where you'll see their true colors. I remember working with someone who on the surface was the nicest person, always smiling, polite in meetings, respectful to the higher-ups. But one day we went out to lunch, and the moment we sat down, this person completely transformed. They started barking orders at the waiter as if they were royalty. It was shocking to see how quickly they shifted from friendly and warm to dismissive and rude. That lunch taught me a valuable lesson. People show their true selves when they think no one important is watching. But here's the real question. Have you ever caught yourself doing the same thing? Treating someone differently because you think they hold less power or influence? We're all guilty of it from time to time, even if unintentionally. Stoicism urges us to reflect on this, to observe our own behavior with the same detachment we observe others. True virtue isn't about impressing those in power. It's about treating everyone with the same level of respect, no matter their status. Stoicism teaches us to observe human behavior objectively. When you watch how someone interacts with those in lesser positions, you're not just learning about them. You're also holding a mirror to your own behavior. It's easy to be kind when there's something to gain. The real challenge and the real mark of character is being kind when there's nothing at stake. Technique 3. Their past is the key to their present. People often say the past is behind us, but the truth is it's not really gone. It lingers, shaping everything about who we are today. Whether it's past traumas, victories, relationships, or even failures, these experiences influence how we think, behave, and treat others in the present moment. Let me share a story. I had a friend who always seemed on edge, defensive, quick to anger, and cautious in relationships. At first, I thought it was just their personality, but over time I learned more about their past. They had been deeply betrayed by people they trusted and had faced financial hardships that made them overly protective of themselves. Suddenly, everything made sense. Their defensiveness wasn't random. It was a survival mechanism born from years of feeling vulnerable. This begs a personal reflection. Do you sometimes find yourself reacting in ways tied to your past, even when it doesn't seem relevant? Stoicism teaches us to look at things as they are, without judgment. When you take the time to understand someone's past, you gain deeper insight into their actions. It's not about excusing bad behavior, but about seeing the full picture. And this applies to yourself as well. Have you ever noticed certain patterns in your own behavior that are rooted in unresolved issues from your past? Recognizing these patterns can be the first step towards healing and growth. In relationships, whether personal or professional, understanding someone's past can help you navigate the present. People don't just move on from their pasts. They carry it with them, often unconsciously, and it colors their reactions, decisions, and emotions. By understanding this, you can approach others with empathy while protecting yourself from getting caught in their unresolved cycles. Technique 4. Sudden changes in tone signal lies or hesitation. Here's a subtle, often overlooked indicator of truth. Tone of voice. A sudden shift in someone's tone, no matter how small, can signal that they're lying or uncertain about what they're saying. Most of us are pretty good at hiding our intentions with words, but our voices, that's a different story. I once worked with a colleague who was smooth-talking, always confident, always knew exactly what to say. But one day, when we were discussing a project deadline, something changed. His usual upbeat tone dropped, and his words came out slower, less certain. It was a small shift, but I caught it. Sure enough, it turned out he hadn't made any progress on the project, and he was trying to cover it up. Why does this happen? When someone lies or feels uncomfortable with what they're saying, their body and mind go into conflict. Their brain tries to maintain the lie, but their voice reflects the stress of that dissonance. It might be a higher pitch, a pause that's just a little too long, or even a crack in their voice. These subtle cues can give away what words can't. Now reflect on your own experience. Do you sometimes notice a shift in your own tone when you're not being entirely honest or comfortable with the conversation? It's worth paying attention to your own voice as much as others. Stoicism teaches us to observe without judgment, and this applies to ourselves too. If you catch a change in your tone, it's an opportunity to pause and reflect. Are you being truthful? Are you aligned with your values? These small moments of self-awareness can be powerful in helping you live more authentically. Technique 5. The most honest moments are when they think no one's watching. If you want to know who someone truly is, watch them when they think no one's paying attention. It's easy to put on a show when the spotlight is on, but people reveal their authentic selves when they believe no one is watching. I once worked with a manager who was all smiles and professionalism when the boss was around. But the moment the higher-ups left the room, she'd snap at the team, make condescending remarks, and generally treat people with zero respect. It was jarring. I realized that the person she was when she thought no one was watching was her true self. Now think about this. Are you the same person when you're in the spotlight as when you're in private? Do you find yourself shifting between personas depending on who's around? Stoicism teaches us that true virtue is about consistency, being the same person, whether the room is full or empty. Our actions should come from within, not from a need for external validation or approval. Watching someone when they think they're off stage gives you a clear view of their real character. And it should also encourage you to reflect on your own actions. Are you living authentically or are you putting on a performance? Technique 6. Emotional reactions reveal priorities. Finally, if you want to understand what truly matters to someone, pay attention to their emotional reactions. Emotions are an unfiltered window into a person's soul. When someone reacts strongly, whether in anger, joy, or anxiety, it reveals their deepest priorities. I once worked with someone who was usually calm and composed, but during a meeting, a small suggestion to change one of his projects set him off. His reaction was disproportionate to the suggestion, and it wasn't until later that I realized why. That project was his baby. He had poured hours of work into it, and to him it was more than just a task. It was personal. Now reflect on your own emotional responses. Have you ever found yourself overreacting to something seemingly small? What did that reaction reveal about your own priorities? Stoicism teaches us to observe our emotions with detachment. By understanding what triggers your reactions, you can gain better control over them. And when you observe others, their emotional flare-ups give you a clear map of what matters most to them, often without them ever needing to say a word. Learning to read people isn't about manipulation or gaining an advantage in conversations. It's about deepening your understanding of the human experience. By observing body language, tone, and emotional reactions, you can start to see beyond the masks people wear and get to the heart of who they truly are. And in doing so, you'll also learn a lot about yourself. Stoicism encourages us to observe without judgment, to understand without attachment. When you start paying attention to these subtle cues, you'll not only navigate social interactions with more clarity, but you'll also cultivate wisdom and self-awareness. So as you go through life, remember that reading people isn't just about what you can see in others. It's also a journey of uncovering your own patterns, behaviors, and truths. The more you observe, the more you learn. Not just about them, but about yourself. And that's where the real power lies. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and found it insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit from these Stoic techniques.